Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account. And before we do get into it, there is a trigger warning on it of struggling with infertility, so if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. And it says, am I the arsehole for asking my sister-in-law to stay away from me until I discuss with my brother about their conception issues? I'm 24 and my sister-in-law is 31. We've been close ever since my elder brother and she got married, and I thought of her as my own elder sister. And she would treat me as a younger brother and would help me with dates and basically just life advice. But just a few hours ago, my sister-in-law and her mum visited me. I was surprised because this time my brother was absent. Usually he tells me beforehand that he isn't coming or he's busy, etc. My sister-in-law and her mum stayed for quite a while and they cooked for the three of us. But after we ate, they both told me that my brother cannot have his own child, and they've been trying for a long time and they tested. TLDR, they asked me if I'd be willing to donate. Their reasoning was that I'd be a better match instead of a random man they don't even know about, and I'm related to my brother and we share blood. I was speechless. And it was awkward to say the least. I just said that I would as long as my brother is okay with it. They said they'll convince him as long as I agree. I said I won't agree until my brother tells me that he is okay with it. They said that it happens all the time everywhere. Many siblings give their child to their siblings if they can't have their own child. I got a bit angry and I said I'm not a sperm donating robot. She's better off finding someone else. I will end up loving her and my brother's child because he/she would be mine. They won't be my nephew or niece, but my child. And what they're asking is too complicated, and they should just adopt. My sister-in-law's mum said that I am being selfish, and I should help her and my brother. I immediately asked her to leave and said I'm willing to do what they want as long as my brother is okay with it. If I sense he's not being forced, I will do what's good for him and my sister-in-law. They left, but I could sense that my sister-in-law was annoyed. She didn't say anything, but I feel like what she's asking could complicate my relationship with her and my brother and their child. The child would be mine, but still be my nephew/niece. I feel bad for kicking them out, but I also think that I should talk to my brother first, instead of doing everything I can to please my sister-in-law. Hell no, of course this wouldn't be a good idea. The fact that they came to you without the brother, trying to get OP to agree before even telling him, and said they'd convince him afterwards, shows like this is premeditated manipulation. Once, or if they got the green light from OP, they were going to use it to pressure the brother, and then trying to normalize the whole thing by saying, it happens all the time, and calling OP selfish for, wanting to talk to the brother first. And they themselves know how wrong it is, or they wouldn't be trying to do it behind the brother's back. The first commenter says to OP, not the arsehole. This sounds like a really bad idea. It'd be different if your brother and his wife came up with the idea together, although I still think it would be quite messy, but the fact that she wants to convince him if you agree is beyond breaking his trust. OP says it's going to be messy no matter what I think. If my brother and his wife asked me, I would have agreed for their happiness, but I still feel like I couldn't stop myself but to treat their child as my own. I even thought that, what if they suddenly asked me to stay away from their child's life? I'm the type of man who would go above and beyond for his family, especially children. And if she asked me to stay away from my nephew and child, I would lose my shit. I do not trust my sister-in-law anymore. I also think, what would they think once the child grows up and he knows the truth? His uncle is his father? I would go through with this as long as my brother is okay with this arrangement, and we three plan for future, and specifically the innocent child. Another commenter says, not the arsehole. As someone who's using anonymous donor eggs here in a few weeks, you can't bully a donor. You can't. It's too complicated. You're right to consider your brother, and the fact that he was absent from this convo says a lot. You can't bully someone to do this. All hearts must be open. After they pushed, you were right to say no. OP says yes, I'm going to talk to my brother and figure out if he truly wants me to be the donor. I have no problem with it as long as I get to be in the child's life. I'm not an anonymous donor, and I know I will love the child. I think they should find someone else or adopt so that I can love them as my nephew/niece and not think of them as my own kids. I'm kind of emotional and love my family too damn much, and I think this will ruin us all, unless we all hid it from the kids and I still be in their life. Another commenter says, and quotes, they will convince him, and then says, they have yet to even bring this up to him. Your sister-in-law and her mum are arseholes. You already know you may not be able to look at the child you have donated sperm to conceive as someone else's. This alone does not make you a good candidate for donation. Your own emotional and mental health have to be taken into consideration. This is a decision that could affect you for the rest of your life. Call up your brother and let him know what is going on and your feelings about it. And a final comment says, not the arsehole, what they did was extremely inappropriate. No one should have been discussing your brother's private medical information without his consent or knowledge, much less outside of his presence. Your sister-in-law had no business involving you or her mother in what should have been a private conversation with her husband. So OP came in with her update and said, first off, I'm grateful for the advice, and some people even said that my sister-in-law and her mum would ask me to do it naturally, which is not something I was expecting. So after a lot of thinking, I thought I should talk to my brother and tell him everything. I called my brother, and after he came over, I explained to him everything that happened from beginning to end. How she came with her mum and told me about their conception issues, and how it's normal to give your child to your brother, and how it's better for me to donate because we both share blood. I asked my brother if he truly wants me to donate. He said he doesn't know for sure. I said if he's not sure, I tried my best to give him assurance. I said if he accepts me to donate, then I will do it for his sake, but I would also expect to be in the child's life if they were my nephew or niece. I'd still want to be in their life, but for me it's kind of complicated because they would be both my nephew, niece, but also my child. My brother said he needs to think, and for now his reply is no. He said he needs to think and talk to his wife first, and he was looking depressed. So I tried my best to comfort him and said that I love him and my sister-in-law, but I wouldn't do anything he's not comfortable with. And since he said no, then my response is also no. But if he in the future agrees, then I will also agree. I wouldn't be a paternal figure, but I would still want to be in their life. He left, and I sent a text to my sister-in-law explaining her everything and told her we brothers are not okay with it yet, but if my brother changes his mind, I'd be willing to donate and be okay whatever arrangement might come next. I haven't got a response from her yet, which is kind of surprising given how close we are, but I guess they are both having an argument or figuring out what they want. I'm not sure, but I'm glad I could get this all out and told my brother everything. For me, this doesn't feel like the end, and it still feels like there's more drama to come with this. And I think it's great that OP talked to his brother, but I think the "I'll do it if you change your mind" response is just leaving that door open for more manipulation potentially from sister-in-law. She's already shown that she's willing to go behind her husband's back and use like family pressure to get what she wants. So I think saying to the sister-in-law, I agree if brother agrees, it's leaving that door open for sister-in-law to, to slowly push through, right? And I know it's always hard in text format to read, between the lines, etc. But the way it read, brother initially saying no, and then followed by that he needs to think about it, suggests to me that he's already feeling pressured by this. And with, as some of the comments were saying, that OP doesn't seem like a good candidate for this kind of thing anyway. I really think that, just strong boundaries need to be put in place that, this is a firm no. But a couple of the top comments from that one said, the first one said you did the right thing, but I get the sense that she will try to bully him into it. Be on your guard. Record every conversation with her and the mother-in-law. I'm getting a bad feeling here. Might be I'm paranoid, but better safe than sorry. Another commenter says, whoa, take a step back from the situation and really think about it. Forget how much you love your brother and want to help him for a moment. Could you actually not be a parent to a child that is yours? Could you see that child in front of you regularly and not be the one they call daddy? That is the single most important question. The bond a parent shares with their child is so incredibly strong. You'll probably be overwhelmed by that feeling, and that could cause a whole host of problems. Some families are completely torn apart by sibling donations. Jealousy and possessiveness of their family could cause your brother and sister-in-law to push you away. You could find it too hard to be around them. How could the child eventually be told? Because in the modern world, that is not a secret that anybody can keep. Stop trying to soothe their feelings and really think about the long-term implications of whether you can handle this. Most people couldn't, and there's nothing wrong with that if you're one of them. But you need to be sure that this is right for you before you agree to this for anyone else. Another comment says, good for you. Your sister-in-law and her mum were being extremely shady. They clearly want to get you on board behind your brother's back, so it could be then pitched to him as a done deal he cannot change. Make sure you have proof of how things transpired. They are very capable of lying to your brother that this was your idea. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. How do you think that one ended yourselves? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, strong warning on this next story, trigger warning of death, mental illness, harassment, stalking, threats, gun violence. It's a pretty terrifying story, so if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. This one's from Brown Thunder 9000, who says, neighbor is doing weird things that are threatening to me. A few weeks ago, a new neighbor moved in across the street. To my knowledge, it's one guy who is about 40 to 50 years old. For the past few weeks since he moved in, he's been taking walks around the neighborhood, and every once in a while when he passes my house, my living room has a window that you can see into the front yard. He stands and watches me. When I go outside to investigate, he just says something along the tune of admiring my shingle work or stargazing. He's used these excuses before. He never comes directly onto my property when he does this. A few days ago, I came home, and when I went to pull the trash cans back from the street, my neighbor is sitting on his front porch with a rifle in his lap in plain view. I ask him if there's anything wrong, and he just nods at me. I went back into my house and called the police. Now, the spot I called the police from was in my kitchen. The only way to look into my kitchen from a window is if you walked up to my living room window and peered to the left. After hanging up the phone, I turned towards the living room and saw my neighbor about 2 feet away from my window, peering in with the rifle. I run into my room and lock the door. After the police arrive, I tell them what happened, and they told me that since he wasn't pointing a gun at me, that it wasn't a threat. The most they can do is trespass him, but by the time they arrived, he left his house. Yesterday I came home at around 10 p.m. and found a dead fish in my mailbox. Without any evidence, how can I stop my neighbor from harassing me? Can I get a restraining order against him? That is so infuriating that nothing seems to be able to be done about that at this moment in time, that the police are just sort of brushing it off. That you actually have to wait until a violent act has been committed before something is done. I'm sure the comments are going to go down the route of document everything, cameras, all that sort of stuff, just letting the police know what's going on. But someone who's openly showing weapons and threatening behavior, being at your windows to leaving dead animals, isn't just going to stop here, are we? And I think, from the trigger warnings, it's going to escalate. But Palindroma says, make a police report about the dead fish. Make the police take the report. Even if you don't actually know for sure who put it there, you have your suspicions. Tell them. If they refuse to take a report, calmly escalate the matter to an officer with a higher standing, and don't leave until a report is taken. Keep all of the police reports you make, and as everyone else has suggested, definitely get a good home security system, preferably with several cameras. Pacific Froggy says, I don't know shit about the law, but I'd say you should get a camera installed and probably keep any evidence of things put through your door. Then speak to police and a lawyer to see what your options are. And OP replies to a deleted comment and says, I'm fully prepared for any future aggression, but I'm looking for a non-violent route first. I don't think I had cause in any of my previous encounters to use force. So then OP came in with another post sometime later and said, I believe my neighbor has been vandalizing my mailbox and shooting .22 caliber shots at my house. So my previous post about this neighbor started here and shared the link. Since then, I got cameras with night vision, motion detection alerts, window tint for my living room, and big thick curtains. I've got a few of those stickers for the area of my house that says, insured by Glock, to deter any intruders. Now, the first night I got my cameras, I checked them the morning after to see how they worked. I made sure that there are no blind spots and all of them are fixed with no movement at all. When I checked the cameras the morning before, someone walked up to them wearing all black, including a mask, and pointed them down. When I left for work that morning, someone spray painted a knife on my mailbox. I filed a report with a postal inspector and called the police. The police said that without any video evidence, there wasn't much I could do. That night I woke up to a loud noise hitting my house every so often. I checked the cameras and couldn't see anything, so I went out and investigated and noticed small holes on my house. Looking around the ground, I see discharged rounds. I called the police again and confirmed that it was .22 shots shot from far away. I have a concrete home, so that would explain the lack of penetration. The police offered to have a car patrol the neighborhood and sit outside for 3 days, and nothing happens. I asked them if I could get a protective order from my neighbor who has a history of being hostile, and they said since I had no direct evidence implicating him, that I can't file it out of nowhere despite previous confrontations. I filed another report with a different officer and get the same spiel. I asked for them to take fingerprints of the bullets then, and they chuckled and put the bullets in a bag and left. 3 days ago, I heard shots again and checked the cameras and noticed that they were facing my neighbor's house, just where I put them. I see a silhouette shooting from the middle of my street before stopping and running to the back of my neighbor's house. After that, I call the police in my room while watching the cameras. The police come and do walk me through the same BS as last time, even after I showed them the cameras. They knocked on my neighbor's door and he claimed he heard and saw nothing. After they left, I asked him if he was telling the truth, and he looked and smiled. It was very unnerving. I didn't know what to do at this point. The top commenter on that one said, OP, a suggestion for you might be to purchase a trail camera, essentially an outdoor camera that runs on batteries and records to a memory card, and try to place it somewhere non-obvious on the outskirts or edge of your property. A few other thoughts. Go to your local county courthouse and actually inquire there to what the requirements are for a restraining order and/or a no contact order. The police may not be the best persons to ask about it if your neighbor qualifies for one. Contact your local chief of police and let them know your property has been vandalized and shot at. Ask if there's anything else that can be done. So OP's final update came as a comment from Best of Legal Advice, and they was replying to someone. They said this similar behavior is something I suffered over the course of 1 to 2 months in Florida. I made posts in Legal Advice asking for help and got reasonably good answers. Unfortunately, my neighbor pushed it too far and tried to break into my house in the middle of the night after a series of weird escalating behavior. As a result, I shot him multiple times. I was questioned and interviewed for over 7 hours and then released due to Florida's stand your ground laws. It turned out that the neighbor was mentally ill and the family is currently trying to sue me for wrongful death. Hope this goes better for the other OP than me. I should have just moved. This is so sad and frustrating all at the same time. You know, the escalating threats being watched through windows, the weapons, dead animals in a mailbox, the vandalizing stuff, shooting at the house, and it was dismissed time and time again, even laughing when collecting rounds of ammunition. And for it to be reported time and time again and be dismissed, I can't imagine how scary and frustrating that is. Someone taking fucking shots at your house, appearing at your windows. You're a prisoner in your own home. That is absolutely terrifying. And look, I don't know the full ins and outs of the story, but it was mentioned at the end that he was mentally ill and now the family's suing OP for it for wrongful death. As I said, I don't know the full ins and outs. I personally found that incredibly frustrating, you know, blaming the person who was being harassed like this, forced to defend themselves when their house was being broken into. I just felt like where was the family concerned when, you know, he's terrorizing his neighbor? Where were they when he's displaying rifles and shooting at houses? It just felt like the real wrongful death here is letting someone that's in severe mental crisis have access to weapons like that. But as I said, I don't know the full ins and outs, but it just jumped out to me. It felt that way as I was reading it. But, oh dearie me, what do you guys make of this situation? Escalated really quickly in the end. I found it quite shocking, although maybe I shouldn't have the way it was escalating. But what do you guys make of it? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. You just don't. Still selling false hope cause you just don't care. House, feel. If we talking to a uniform, who the real? You know we in the deep south, so let's keep it real. This is what they used to mob, lynch, drag, and kill. I never made the party cause I felt the paper bag. Just gotta get this money cause you know I never had it. I'm feeling like Badu, the way I carry my baggage. This heavy load on my shoulders might turn me to a savage.